This is Amy, and we're talking Dallas Cowboys football. So, I've been a Dallas fan for about 20 years. And most of the people viewing this video know me, and you've heard all my rants and raves and endless game dissections. And in an effort not to bore you all to tears at meetings and parties and anywhere else I can corner anybody, I'm just going to instead post these on video, and then you can watch them. They're just my opinions. Feel free to agree or disagree. If you see me, hey, let's talk more football. But, this way I don't have to, beat you all over the head with it on a regular basis. So, it's a little tougher for me to get my information these days, living in LA, the city that the NFL forgot. But I'll do my best to talk about current topics and get the most interesting information. And remember, these are just my opinions. So, I'm going to talk on this video about stuff that happened before the upcoming season and where that leaves us now. So, Terrell Owens. I love T.O. T.O. is my favorite player. And last year when I was at training camp, T.O. was the only Dallas Cowboy player who interacted with the crowd and was fun and, having a good time with the people instead of all the other players who were like, we are high and mighty, exalted Dallas Cowboy football players. We don't need to deal with you little people. So that was very disappointing. So I was happy that T.O. was really making an effort to engage the fans. And plus, he got me on Hard Knocks. So, again, I'm a big fan of T.O. T.O. is a high-maintenance player, and he's a pain in the rear from a management perspective. But his numbers speak for themselves. All of his past three quarterbacks, so Garcia, McNabb, and Romo, have posted their best numbers when throwing to T.O. Now, Romo's a little bit different because Romo has only ever thrown to T.O., so we don't have anything to compare. But you look at Garcia, you look at McNabb, they won with T.O. They may not have liked the guy. There may have been a lot of internal dissension, but, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. So T.O. is 36 years old, and I still think he's better than any of the wide receivers that Dallas currently has. And we'll cover individual positions later. So cutting T.O. was pretty significant because Jerry Jones loves the circus. I mean, loves the circus. And T.O. brought the circus. He was the ringmaster. So I kind of wonder, does cutting T.O. mean that Jerry is listening to some other counsel besides his own? Because there were a lot of people who told him to cut T.O., and I know Jerry likes T.O. On one hand, that's kind of heartening. On the other hand, Jerry, on the off chance that you ever see this, hire a general manager. You so need a general manager. You're a genius as a businessman, but you're not a general manager. So, please, I think it's the best way to go. That said, I think Jerry showed absolutely no class in cutting T.O. the way he did. The whole, right after the season ended and the whole, springtime, I heard Jerry on press conferences saying, oh, everything's fine with T.O. Now T.O.'s coming back. Oh, don't worry. Everything's all good. And then just cuts him. So, don't cut people and promise people something, especially in the press, and then just do that kind of no-class stuff. All right. So, T.O. became a problem, and a focal problem within the Cowboys because of their biggest issue, lack of leadership. Coach Phillips, a.k.a. Captain Stay Puft, is not a leader. At least I haven't seen it. Obviously, I don't know everything that goes on, outside of the field, but I just don't see it. And the other thing, too, is I think that Phillips is a great defensive coordinator, but I don't think he's a great head coach. Jason Garrett has not been a leader. I think this is the most overpaid guy in the NFL. He was supposed to be the second coming OC wonder, and I just haven't seen it. His offenses are just not that complex, and I just haven't seen the leadership. I've seen him be pushed around by the Tony Romo Witten contingent versus the Terrell Owens and his guys contingent. Romo, Mr. Oshkosh, good old guy. We're just here to have some fun and play some good football. No doubt in my mind, Tony Romo is a nice guy. You'd want to have him as a friend, and I think he's a good guy. But he's not being a leader, and he is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. If you're a quarterback, you've got to be a leader. So when you have a leadership void, someone's going to fill it, and unfortunately, that person is Terrell Owens. I think Terrell Owens needs a strong leader that he can support. If he's got nothing, he'll become one, and that's not good for a team. So Romo and Garrett won that power struggle, and now I say, hey, put up or shut up. You got rid of T.O., you called him a big distraction, you said he's the problem within our offense, so you know what? Let's see it. Let's see this season become good strategic offense that Tony Romo executes on. You got no excuses anymore. So I was not a fan of Bill Parcells, especially in his third and fourth season in Dallas. However, he was really tough on Romo, and you could see Romo develop as a quarterback. I mean, on that half of the third season that Parcells was there and the fourth season, you saw Romo really develop and pop up his skills from week to week. Then Parcells left, and Romo has become stagnant or even possibly regressed. I do not see his skills going forward. And, Parcells told him, you've got to choose between being a celebrity QB or a Super Bowl QB. Which do you want? And it looks to me like Romo has chosen the celebrity route. Okay, if you're Joe Namath, I guess you can do both. But you got to win a few playoff games and maybe even a Super Bowl to do both, Tony. So I'm disappointed that there's no one within the Dallas organization to this point that has really pushed Romo's development like Parcells did. Joe Namath and Tom Brady had been very successful at being celebrities and good quarterbacks. So I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm saying Romo is not there. So Romo seems like a really nice guy, but he needs to be a gladiator out in the field. He needs to I don't know, be bigger than life for the Dallas Cowboys. And, the whole Jessica Simpson thing, I just think that's ridiculous. She's not, Yoko Romo, and I think she was just an excuse for fans to hang on to since they didn't want to admit that Romo just isn't as good as they want him to be. So, Jerry's paid a boatload of money for Romo. He's pinned the future of the franchise on it, and he's not a superstar quarterback yet. Maybe he will become one, but I don't see it yet, and I think that there's a lot of frustrated fans who are just blaming a lot of external sources. So fans, Jessica's gone. Now you're just going to see Romo, and we'll see what happens. Okay, have you seen those baby pink Romo jerseys? They made that pink one for Jessica Simpson, and they actually started selling it in the Cowboys store. Okay, first off, pink is not a football color. If you're going to be a football fan, if you're female, just wear the team colors. It'll be fine. Pink has no place in football. But I have a proposal. I say we put the pink jersey on Mr. Tony Romo, since it is his number 9, and until he wins a playoff game, he wears that pink jersey. That'll remind everybody, Tony Romo hasn't won a playoff game. He is one of the highest paid people in the league, quarterbacks, etc., and he hasn't won a playoff game. Time's up. Again, this season, put up or shut up. Go to the playoffs, win at least one game, or, I don't know, dare make some changes. So, speaking of playoff losses, I don't hold Romo responsible for the first playoff loss in Seattle. I think in Seattle, it was unimaginative coaching that lost that game. It came down to that final play, but let's face it, if the coaching had been better, if they had exploited Seattle's weakness in the middle with the little 5-yard slants that Jason Witten's so good at catching, I think they could have easily won that game. So I hang that on Parcells. But a lot of the other playoff wins are just a combination of Tony Romo not furthering developing his skills, Jason Garrett not being the OC wonder boy that he's supposed to be, and Phillips not having a team effort going on. Last, Coach Phillips, Captain Stay Puft. I think he's a great DC. When poor Brian Stewart was the scapegoat last year for the defense and Phillips took over the defense, it looks much better. You could really tell that his print on it had definitely improved defensive strategy. So he's a great DC, but I don't see him as a head coach. I question why he thought Jason Garrett was so great, although that could have been just Jerry's. For all I know, Phillips never even wanted Jason Garrett as an OC. But it just seems like his skill all lies in defense and doesn't really translate well to the head coach position. So, I think he's got to be tougher. Jimmy Johnson, the players hated him, and he was a jerk. But you know what? He won games. He was tough. He didn't let anybody get away with anything, and he won games. It was kind of like that army strategy or that war strategy, that if you bring people together via hating you, they still gel as a team and they come together. So I just think Wade is too soft. I don't know that you need the extreme of Jimmy Johnson.